Right. I think we're in. I let that play. Like I keep mentioning over and over, I'm gonna let that part play because whatever I lead with, whether it's some music from here or whether anything, I'm gonna let that have its time. And whether it's even a text or a message, you're gonna let that have its time. But glad you guys are here. Awesome. Good to be back in the studio doing a little bit of recording time in the studio, and definitely appreciate the resources in the studio. Riverside FM. Riverside FM. I can't say that I'm not happy with it because definitely it's met my needs. And the thing is, I need to get better at learning how to do stuff, and I'm trying and getting better because sometimes I see stuff I don't like when it's recorded, and hopefully you could bear with me as we get past that because it's about the message. I know it helps to have the bells and whistles of what it looks like if it's up to date, new, but the message is what's really going to. Do you have ears to hear? Do you have eyes to see? And I definitely work on making the visual look better for branding and all that. But also, there's stuff that we bring here that you ain't going to catch everywhere. Let's be honest. And all you guys, you new folks, because I see with this program and what I'm going to like, these clips have reached out, and I think it's the clips have been able to go viral, and it's drawn new subscribers who came to notice the channel, and then also that I'm not putting it because I found out that I would put it on public for everybody, and that shoots it into the algorithm to everybody, and that means also it's going through sorting through algorithms of people who don't care about what's on here. Some people don't care. They're not in a place to receive anything deeper because they don't think outside that box. Of course, we know that. But this kind of gets it into a place of, and some of the other things I do, like putting different things on it with the hashtags, even different channels, that it would even go into the people who watch those channels where they would see this channel and then click in and maybe listen because it would be their stream of consciousness and what they're looking for in this time and in this space and now. But thank you. They're really, really, I appreciate a lot. I appreciate those clips. A few of those clips have really gone out there and have increased, have hit the algorithm and flowed into a different space. And definitely, I noticed that. And the clips will increase. I'm trying to get a master at doing the clips. Me creating the clips isn't really the hard part because right here on Riverside FM, with its AI aspect of generating, it does it for me, which is fine. And you go, but D-Boy, you're really going in. I am when I understand that them in charge don't look for your best interest. And that's undebatable. The history showed us that those who have knowledge and those who, because I hear a lot of people in that video that when we went over the AI video, right, which came out on the 7th, and some things that was said by her, I'm not really in that flow. But most of it was good of what's happening and how even people in those spaces are like, whoa, this thing is calibrating and doing things we didn't program it into, almost like going in thinking for itself and producing for itself. Wasn't that Demolition Man? Yeah, a lot of them older movies were talking about these times. Westworld. Come on now. They were really, that's why I was talking to somebody recently and they were like asking me about watching the news. And I said, I don't watch the news. And they were inquiring, really, you don't watch the news? And I go, no. And they go, why? And I, usually don't like to get in these conversations with people who I don't know where their consciousness is. Well, I just said it. I said, it's nothing but propaganda. It's not really truth. It's props. It just is. It's north, east, west, and south propaganda. These movies and shows and series will tell you more truth than the news does at all. And that's take it to the bank facts. But only the knowers know, because if you don't know, you're caught in the running of programs, and the looping factor in the running of programs is one of the biggest things that we're dealing with here. And I know we're going to get to reading, so I'm not going to lead in because, I can lead in and go on this subject for myself another 5 to 10 easily. And I'll stop with this, but think about we're running on feedback loops and programs that are been there by what we're seeing in the stories, archons, right? We're seeing in the stories, archons, right? Let's see, I'm trying to get how that's lighting. Archons. Don't look at archons necessarily as a deity. Look at it as a program, almost like a cold program that's function is to give feedback loops. Its function is to read you as a program. Hear what I'm saying? To read you as a program. They're monitoring even so you will do your next move when it's time to do your next move, because it's always about the accumulated information about you. Hence, that's why I've said here for a long time, if you change things around, you're not easily just an algorithm, because they're running off your algorithm. Joey Jitwit gets up at 7, eats his cornflakes, brushes his teeth, blankety blank, boomba boomba, does this every day. You're an algorithm, easily read. And then when the algorithm comes for a change, they give you a little something more to give you your fantasies, fulfill your fantasies, or whatever it may be that you think you're getting a little something, but really it's just the feedback loop to keep you under the loop. When you go in on yourself and make necessary changes by getting up and just making these changes, you start glitching the algorithmic system of feedback loop, because it doesn't read you. It's not reading you. It's reading your prior behaviors as an algorithm and what you do and how you live. Now it doesn't read you because you glitched it. I used to call it glitching. You're glitching the system, the matrix. The matrix with many of us is not about they hate us or they love us. It's not about that. And you go, what do you mean it's not about? Think about this. It's about, do you fit in the system? If you don't fit in the system, we really want to spit you out. It's neither about love, nor like, nor hate, or abuse. It's about, do you fit the system? Because if you're an outside force operating in the system, hence the story of what we're going to get to, Sophia, right? Because this system all comes from a lower frequency vibration created through coming out of the higher realms to create something in the lower realms. Her mistake. She pays the cognitive price because she's an awakened soul and realizes her thing, but tries to go back in to give something that is even undetectable by the matrix. When detected, they really don't know how to flush it because it's not part of the system. Hence, so even many of Ewans, I call you Ewans ones out here, really don't fit it, because you're more a clog or a cog in the flow of the matrix. In the feedback loop, it starts to glitch, right? It starts to slow down. It starts to read something here is not really in the aspect of flowing amongst this program. Feedback loop. Notice it's really a programs heavily and feedback loops. Things just keep repeating and repeating and repeating. That's why when they tell you in history, oh, history repeats itself, because they're not telling you this is a literal place with history. It's a feedback loop. It's always going to feed you back into that loop because it's a program. So this aspect of Sophia is somebody that is going in there and putting origination or organic into a program, right? To give the light to them who would receive light that are still being that are in a program, that they would awake from and realize they're running on programs, and they can start glitching the programs, or what we would call reverse engineer the program. Because they don't care what you do within the program. It isn't really about us personally. And that's what I really came to see. But they know there's them that do. And I can go in on some the Hunger Games and some of these other types of like movies like that. When you start getting to these certain people they couldn't touch with the programming, and that's one of, there's like 3 or 4 of those movies, and they were looking for the ones who were not affected by the programs they were running on them, right? To find them, apprehend them, because it wasn't effective with them. And why I'm saying this is, you start glitching it. Some of it can make you feel, when you glitch something, that there's another aspect of the program that must turn on, because they're recognizing there's things in the program that are not inorganic to the inorganic program, if that makes sense. That's why anything that's not organic is an alien or inorganic, because really an alien is just something inorganic, like a virus. That's why what they do, what happens when you have your programs and files, somebody wants to hijack your program center, your information, or get something out of you, maybe financially or whatever it may be, hack you. They want to put a virus in. And even within our body, we have parasites, and I'm not going to stop there. We're going to get to, because I said I keep going, we're going to get to the Pistis of Sophia and do that reading. Now let me do a good layout. here for me because it doesn't work for me to do that. It's here. If I want to get it, it's not allowing me to do that. Go here so I can be here. I think I can go here, hopefully. Let's see. Let me see, go back here because it should be there. And let me see here. But anyways, I am trying to make this a little bit bigger and me to be able to judge. Let's see if I can go here. But anyways, so we left off through 8 chapters in our first version that we did. So, which was yesterday's thing, but in between yesterday's recording of the one yesterday, number 1, and today, it's a number of days, a week or so. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can make it a little bigger. This is a very small chapter, and some of them are. It came to pass when Jesus had finished saying these words to his disciples, he had continued again in the discourse and said unto them, Lo, then put on my vesture and all authority, and had given them through the first mystery. Yet a little while, and I will tell you the mystery of the universe and the fullness of the universe, pleroma. And I was seeing the clothing was kind of the vesture of a holy place clothing, or a memory of you from your higher state of who you are. And I will hide nothing from you from this hour on, but in the fullness I will perfect you in all fullness, and in all perfection, and in all mysteries, which are the perfection of the perfectionists, and the fullness of all fullnesses, and the gnosis of all gnosises. Those are my vesture. So right here, the highest aspect of who you are from the highest realm of gnosis, which is knowledge, is my vesture. So what I was saying, the clothing is the vesture. Why Adam and Eve were naked is because they realized they didn't have knowledge. And the truth of the matter is, right, from these scriptures, which go way deeper than the ones we get later, and the I call the canonized version from 325 on, from that, where that comes from. Those which are I tell you all mysteries from the exteriors, from the outers to the interiors of the interiors. But hearken, I may tell you things which have befallen me. Let's see what we can do in chapter 10. I'm not going to let me go to chapter 10 unless I go out here, probably. Some of this I can't read. Let's go back over here. Let me make it smaller so I can come in a little bit. Take it over here. Make it bigger. A lot of good stuff. I mean, for me, this is a very, very good. So let's get a little closer for me, if you don't mind if I do. It came to pass when the sun had risen in the east, I could make it just a tad bit bigger, and the great light power came down, in which was my vesture. Came to pass when the sun had risen in the east, that was a great light power came down, and which was my vesture. So the knowledge came from a higher state of light, because remember he talked about from gnosis to gnosis to gnosis, right? He goes, which I had left behind in the 4 and 20th mysteries. As I've said unto you, I found a mystery in my vesture, written in 5 words of those from the height, Ama, Oska, Rakama, Ozai, whose solution is this mystery, which is without in the world of those for whose sake the universe had risen. But this is the total outgoing, the total ascent, which hath emanated all emanations and all that is. Wherein for those whose sake all mysteries and their regions have risen, come higher into us. For we are thy fellow servants, members. We are all with thyself. We are all one and the same. Thou art the first mystery, which existed from one beginning in the infallible before it came forth, and the name thereof are we all. Now, therefore, we were all come to meet thee at the last limit, which also is the last mystery from within. Notice where's the mystery at? The mystery is within. This is the very thing that we keep seeing these connections of truth. It itself is a portion of us, meaning it is part of us. It is the very aspect that capsules who we are in our very, very, very spark of the divine, the imprint that's on us. Now, therefore, are we all come to meet thee at the last limit, which also is the last mystery from within, itself is a portion of us now. Therefore, we have sent thee thy vesture, which belonged to thee from the beginning, which thou hast left behind in the last limit, which also is the last mystery from within, until its time should be completed according to the commandment of the first mystery. Lo, its time completed, but put it on thee, by the commandment. So the clothing thee in the vesture in the nakedness is all connected to the clothing, is connection to connecting your gnosis or all your knowledge. Remember, many want to get caught in knowledge, but don't realize the other aspect of knowledge is wisdom, feminine aspect. So this is Sophia, it's not Sophia. The gnosis with Sophia is a completeness of feminine and masculine knowledge together, now working and moving in wisdom, because Sophia means wisdom. First mystery of all his glory, by commandment of himself, is that the first mystery hath given us, consisting two vestures, to clothe thee therewith, there's a clothing, besides one which we have sent thee, for thou art worthy of them, since thou art prior to us, existed before us. For this cause, therefore, had the first mystery been sent thee through us, the mystery of the glory, consisting of two vestures. In the first, it's the whole glory of all the names and of all the mysteries and all the emanations of the orders of the space of the infallible. That's it. Go. Make this smaller. Maybe I have to do this again. Okay, let me go back and see where we're at now. Trying to get this to go, because this is not what this picture that I'm seeing that you guys aren't seeing. This is not working. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to find out exactly where we are. Therefore, the vesture came down. I know we were in verse like 18, 15, the vesture from the first commandment downwards to the light. Tell me if I'm missing something here. I think it was 18. We were here the further therein. The vesture, the name of the glory of orders of the emanation of the treasury and of the saviors and of the mystery of the orders, which are the seven amens and the seven voices and the list of the three amens. Let's see where this is at. This is verse 10. Okay, we did 10, right? We came down. I'm sorry about this, you guys. This really threw me off with this stuff. Where we were reading at names of the mysteries, the emanations, the orders, and infallible. Okay, and the second vesture is the whole glory of the mysteries after verse 18. And this third vesture, which we have just sent thee in the glory of the name of the mystery of the revealer, which is the first commandment of the mystery of the five impressions right up here. And the mystery of the great envoy of the infallible is the light, the great light, and of the mystery of the five leaders, who are the five helpers. There's further in this vesture the glory of the name of the mystery of the orders of emanations of the mystery of the light of their saviors, and of the mystery of the orders of orders, which are the seven amens, seven voices, five trees, three amens, and the twin savior, that is the child of the child. Wow. And of the mystery of the nine guards of the three gates of the treasury of the light. There's further wherein therein the whole glory of the name of those which are in the right, and of those which are in the midst. And further there is wherein the glory of the name of the great invisible, which is the great forefather, and the mystery of the triple powers, and the mystery of the whole region, and the mystery of their invisibles, and all those who are in the 19th eon, 13th eon, and the name of the 12 eons, and all their rulers, and all their archangels, and all their angels, and all those who are in the 12 eons, or eons, the whole mystery of the name of those who are in the fate, and in all the heavens, the whole mystery of the name of those who are in the spheres, sphere and its firmaments, and all those who are in them and their regions. Lo, therefore we have sent thee this vesture, which again, vesture represents your gnosis, your knowledge. And he was talking about the gnosis of the gnosis of the gnosis, deep into higher states of recognition of who you are, right? No one knew from the first commandment downwards the glory of the light was hidden in it. The fears and all the regions come from the first commandment downwards. We have known it. Haste thee, therefore, clothe thyself with the vesture and come unto us. For we draw nigh unto thee to clothe thee by the command of the first mystery and the two vestures, other which existed for thee from the beginning with the first mystery until the time appointed of the infallible was completed. Come, therefore, to us quickly that we may put them on thee until they have fulfilled total ministry of perfection of the first mystery, which is appointed by the infallible. Come, therefore, as to quickly, in order that may clothe thee with them according to the commandment of the first mystery. For yet for a little while, a very little while, and thou shalt come unto us and leave the world. Come, therefore, quickly, and thou mayest receive the whole glory. What that is the glory of the first mystery. This is very heavy. This is for, again, we'll do 11, which is very short. I came to pass then, when I saw the mystery of all these words in the vesture, which was sent me, that straightway I clothed myself therewith. Notice when I saw the mystery of these words in the vesture. The vesture is a notice, the knowledge. The nakedness in the garden had nothing to do with the sin, which we pushed 325 AD by them from Rome. It was you not remembering who you were, and your forgetfulness of not having the knowledge and wisdom was the vesture. That was the being naked. They realized they didn't have wisdom when they woke up after doing that which they were supposed to do, which they did, but was reversed in the program as not being that which it really was meant for. Did you get it? We've been sent through the archons, through the system in Rome, programming. Many of us came through that. Many of us woke up out of that and left it. I came from the first gate of the firmament, shining most exceedingly, and there was no measure of delight, which was about me. And the gates of the firmament were shaken over against another, and all at once. And all the rulers and all the authorities and all the angels therein were thrown altogether into agitation because of the great light which was on me. They gazed in the radiant vesture, and this was definitely in the other book. The light which I had, the radiant vesture, the light which I was clad. They saw the mystery which contains their names, and they feared most exceedingly. And all their bonds which they were bound were loosed, and every left his order. One left his order. They all fell down before me and adored and said, how had the Lord of the universe passed through us without our knowing? And they all sang praises together in the interiors of interiors. Me they saw not, but they saw only the light, and they were in great fear and were exceedingly agitated and sang praises the interiors of the interiors. That's heavy to me. Very smaller books here, or chapters. And I left the region behind me and ascended to the first sphere, shining most exceedingly 49 times, more brightly than I had shone in the firmament. It came to pass when I reached the gate of the first sphere that its gates were shaken and opened of themselves at once. I entered in the house of the sphere, shining most exceedingly. There was no measure of light that was about me, and all the rulers and all those who were in the sphere fell into an agitation one against another, and they saw the great light was upon me. They gazed upon my vesture and saw therein the mystery of their name. There's an awakening going on. There's a knowledge being passed. They were reading the vesture, which was the gnosis. And they fell into a greater agitation and were in great fear, saying, how had the Lord of the universe passed through us without our knowing, without our gnosis? And all their bonds were unloosed in the regions of their orders, and everyone's left his order. They fell down altogether and adored before me, or before my vesture, and all sang the praises together in the interiors of the interiors, being in great fear and great agitation. Let me get a real quick time. Look where we're at in time here. We're at the 30-minute mark, okay? Let's go back here and read to that 30-minute mark. What happened was there. and left me behind. Okay. I left the region behind and came to the gates of the second sphere, which is the fate. Then all of its gates thrown into agitation to open of themselves, and I entered in the house of the fate, shining most exceedingly, and there was no measure of the light that was about me, round about me, was about me, for the light was about me. And I shone in fate 49 times more than that in the sphere, and all the rulers and those who are in the fate were thrown into agitations and fell on one another, and were in exceedingly great fear on seeing great light that was about me. And they gazed on my vesture, and the light saw the mystery of their names on my vesture, and fell into a great agitation. Did I read that? How the Lord universe passed through and we didn't see him. I think that's what I read already, right? Let's see if 14 appears here, and it won't. It's really strange. Go over here, and we'll definitely see 14, and put you up. All that left the region behind me ascended at the great ions of the rulers, the eons of the rulers, and came before their veils, their great shining. Most exceedingly, there was no measure for the light which was about me. It came to pass then, when I arrived at the 12 eons, that their veils and their gates were shaken one over against another. The veils drew themselves apart at their own accord, and their gates opened over against one another, and I entered into the eons, shining like exceedingly, and there is no measure of the light that was about me, 49 times more than the light which I was shown in the houses of the fate. And all the angels of the eons, and all their archangels, and all their rulers, and their gods, and their lords, and their authorities, and tyrants, and the powers, and their great sparks, and their light givers, and their unprepared, and their invisibles, and their forefathers, their triple power, saw me shining most exceedingly. There is no measure of light for the light which was about me. They were thrown into agitations, the one over against the other, and a great fear fell upon them. For when they saw the great light was about me, and their great agitation, their great fear, they withdraw as far as the region of the great invisible forefather, and of the three great triple powers. And because of the great fear of their agitation, the great forefather, who had three triple powers, kept on running hither and in thither in the region, and they could not close all their regions because of the great fear in which they were. They agitated all their eons together in their spheres and all their orders, fearing and being greatly agitated because of the great light which was about me, not of the former quality that was about me when I was on the earth of mankind, when the light vesture came over me, for the world could not bear the light, at such was it was in its truth. Else would the world at once be destroyed and upon it all. But the light was about me in the 12 eons was 8,700 myriad times greater than that was about me in the world among you. Wow, that's heavy. And I think we may stop there, and that would be 15 would be our next video. 15 would be our next video. Yeah, I think so. 15 would be our next video. Wow. Stop. We're at the 34-minute. Why not? Powerful. This to me was very, very powerful. This Pistis of Sophia. There's another book I found about that I'm going to be doing here soon. I might even interact and not do, because there's a lot of pistis here. I don't know how much is in this other book, but I got a book cooking. Yeah, that book's a cooker. I found. I mean, there's so much depth in this library of these gospels. I mean, a lot, very much a lot. So I'm going to ask you guys to subscribe and share. We got clips coming. We got all this that we'll be putting out. Share. Anybody with an ear that needs to connect to us will be coming the side of us that will help them in their next venture of waking up and going to the next level to realize what we are. And this is really what I'm seeing. I'm seeing two huge aspects: what this place is and what we are, and how more and more I'm seeing the separation of it instead of the unity of it in this aspect of a system, what we would call the matrix, the system, the God of this world, that even the New Testament, canonized virgins, messians, all kinds of stuff you can find when you know what you're looking for. It's fairly Gnostic, especially Paul's writing. I mean, you start looking at them, it's either Kabbalist or Gnostic. I mean, really, facts. because he ain't speaking what the others are speaking. But there's a lot of stuff. The God of this world, love not the world, neither things of the world, or the love of the Father is not in you. When you go to First John, it talks about this, and then when you look up that word world, like I said, it's not talking about literally touching the ground, this world. It's talking about a system. It specifically says two things when you get into the Greek of it: religion and politics. Aren't they the same? Go hand in hand. We talked about that. Doesn't one support the other? Then they support each other. You guys have a great day. This was part 2 of the Pistis of Sophia.